I have a problem. Now, some people, when they're bored, they might go out shopping for stuff they don't need. They might do something bad for them, like smoke or overeat. You might do something healthy, like exercise or talk to people. Not me though. I look for deals on the Toshiba 22TB enterprise capacity hard drive. If I have a free bay, I can take one and I have the budget for it and there's a good deal on, I will buy one of these drives. And that's how I've ended up with 11 of them in total. That's not a joke. That's 242 terabytes split between my Blender work and my AI research. I like these so much that I wanted to write them a love letter. Not a review, not a comparison, just a slightly concerning tribute about these drives and what makes them so special for me. At least that was the plan until I started having these issues, which I'll get into later in the video. But to start with, why do I like these drives so much? I like them because they have no gimmicks and they just get the job done at a really reasonable price. So here in the UK, and I've heard this from other people around Europe, Toshiba is the way to go if you want to get a huge amount of capacity on a budget. And they don't come with some of the gimmicks or issues of other hard drives. So no shingles, these are all CMR. No RGB, not sure if drives have RGB, but they don't have it because they don't need it. No nonsense with refurbished drives being sold as new but having 50,000 hours of use. They don't make a big fuss. No helium marketing BS, just helium inside the drives because it helps with the airflow or something. Okay, they can be loud. They tend to make this thunking kind of sound, sounds like this. But it's perfectly manageable for this room that I work in. And plus it gives them a little bit of personality. And while we're talking about the downsides, you do have to watch your RAID rebuild times. So adding these to a RAID array can take multiple days. I haven't had to do a RAID repair or a rebuild yet, but I will do very soon, and I will update you on how long that takes. But if you are buying these, I would definitely recommend multiple drives of redundancy to give you some time to make any repairs if you have to. Now, full disclosure, I have bought every one of these drives with my own money or with grant money for research. But I did once email Toshiba's PR team saying how much I like the drives and asking if they would send me some for free. They never replied, but I kind of respect that. Just like the drives themselves, they don't make a fuss because they don't have to. They don't need fancy marketing campaigns. They just sit there quietly and deliver some of the best bang for the buck, price per terabyte that money can buy. And I was prepared to accept these drives with all of their flaws. And as I say, I wanted to write them a love letter, even with the downsides of the sound and the huge build times. But what's changed that? Well, if you dig into the Backblaze reliability data, and there is a great video which I got this information from, which I will try to remember to link in the description. These drives are known to have high early failure rates. So within the first month or so, they are more likely to fail or they're more likely to be dead on arrival compared to drives from other brands. But after a couple of months or years, they have some of the best reliability, so they stabilize. Now I thought this was okay and I was willing to take this risk, and when I had bought the first 5 or so, there was absolutely zero problem. But recently I've had 2 of these, so 2 out of 11 that have had problems really early on. So one of them was completely dead on arrival, wasn't even recognized by my Asus Store NAS. That was not a huge problem. I returned it, they sent me a replacement very quickly, and I thought, okay, 1 failure out of 11 isn't too bad, maybe that's like livable. But then I had a second failure. This is a drive that I had in the NAS that was recognized and it was originally reading with no issues. But then after just 3 weeks, it already was showing me 6 bad sectors. And there was 1 pending sector. I don't know a huge amount about what that means, but I think that means another sector was about to become bad. And it's a bad sign for a drive to be showing bad sectors so early, especially because it had no bad sectors when it was installed initially. Now the return for this was slightly more annoying. I'm going to have to return it, get a refund, and then buy a new drive. Both of these issues were with drives from Amazon, but this second one was from a different seller and they were a little bit less flexible when it comes to the return. So it's an inconvenience, but I will be replacing it with a working one. But I am not worried at all about the long-term reliability. So very anecdotally, but my first 3 drives that I've had for many months now have no bad sectors. They have been chugging along, putting in the work with absolutely no issues. And actually recently, Backblaze announced some reliability data for the MG10A, which is the specific model of enterprise capacity drive that I've been using. And they show long-term, very competitive reliability on par or better than drives from other manufacturers. Well, where does that leave us? Well, this is a fantastic drive if you want a huge amount of capacity with no frills, but you have to be prepared to maybe deal with issues of them arriving dead. So I wouldn't recommend these if you're buying from suppliers that you don't think could handle a return quickly and seamlessly for you. You might be wondering what the warranty is like from Toshiba. When I had these bad sectors on the second drive, I called them to see if they could offer any fix, like if they could send out an advanced replacement while I send mine in for repair. And they said that they couldn't. Because it was so new, the easiest thing for me was to return it and get a new one. If failures happen later down the line, I think you can send them to Toshiba. They can try and repair them and send it back, but that can take weeks. And maybe you have to pay for shipping, I'm not sure. So it really comes down to this. If you think you can buy this from a reputable seller, someone that makes it easy to send in returns if there are any issues, or a reputable seller that you think will be able to swap it out for a working model, then I would definitely recommend this if you're looking at it, especially if it is a lot cheaper than the alternatives that you're looking at where you are living. If you're thinking of buying some of these anyway, you can do so using my affiliate links, and that helps support the channel and it won't cost you a penny. Let me know in the comments what you think of this different kind of review. I am experimenting with different formats and different video types recently, so I'd love to hear what you think of this and of the other recent videos. Click here to watch my review of the Asus Store NAS with 6 of these bad boys inside it. Even though they are enterprise drives, they work really well inside a NAS.